Hey everyone, this is Wei and welcome back. Let's draw a quick sketch of Gollum, and this will be a very fun and loose sketch. So this is something that I really love to do. So let's get started and I'll talk about the process along the way. Alright, so to draw something like this, you can break things up a little bit. Just say, alright, let's see, make sure I get everything in frame. Alright, so here's the head, and I can actually just start breaking things up a little bit. Here's his ear. His eyes will be right around here. I know this is really rough, but I mean, the idea of this is just kind of, just kind of sketch and have a little fun, And with a 6B pencil, you can actually do that. It's very loose. So I'm just kind of going, here's this spine, right? Here's his shoulders right here. And this is very basic. It's just kind of breaking up, the parts. Here's this other arm, and here's this chest area, and here's this knee. All right, so I don't know how far I'll get, but let's just kind of start shading because it is a very cool character. Obviously, probably one of the best films around. It's like, what kind of geek would not like Lord of the Rings? This is awesome special effects and story. All right, so let's go. Just gonna start drawing. Shadow, just kind of blocking things in. I don't want to measure too much because it's just kind of sketching, very loose sketching. This is almost kind of like I guess you can almost treat it like a warm-up sketch, if you're doing something more serious. But this in itself is actually a lot of fun. By far, this is probably one of my favorite things to do in terms of drawing. This kind of loose sketching where you just kind of let go. Don't worry too much about, how it's gonna look or if it's, true to the reference. So that's why sometimes when I'm doing this, I find it a little bit harder to actually talk, because my mind is somewhere else, right? It's like I'm drawing this and you kind of get into the zone where you're just like seeing things and you get, I don't know. I mean, it's a nice little high, you get into this feel where it's kind of in a trance and see all this cool stuff and you're like, yeah, here's a heart area, right? And you just kind of go for it. So it's like dark, right? Line here, dark here for the crease. Right. Here's the shadow. The eyeball, some reflective property, so leave that light darker here. All right, a little bit of shading right here. This is darker. This is darker. So I'm almost seeing little things in chunks. Dark, 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 and it's chin area right here. Dark, a little bit of light here. Darker here. Darker here. This is darker. All right, and well, this is probably worth talking about. You notice I didn't draw a line here because there really isn't a line. This shape actually comes about from the contrast between the the face and the background. So if I draw a line there, it's gonna kind of flatten things out. All right, so here's the neck. Dark. And so with a 6B, you can see how quickly I can cover that, right? Here's a little bit more, here, and here's the terminator here from the backlighting. I can actually draw it in like that, and then just shade into it. That way I can get a nice, I know where the light ends. Okay, here's the terminator here, but it's a little bit smoother, so it's not as contrast. This is actually caused by the shoulder, the shadow. All right, so let's keep going. This is some promising signs, right? Didn't turn out to look like garbage from the get-go. So it's worth continuing, so let's go. ear here, lighter here. I'm just gonna draw so I don't go into that area. All right, so this is dark here, and then now I can shade in. All right, you see how I broke that up? This is darker here, dark, darker here. All right. So it's very simplified. Just kind of seeing things in chunks. Okay, shadow. This is important. All right, so gives light, coming from the back here. So it's actually very important to have this little shadow right here. It really brings out the shape. A little bit of shading here. Let's see, the head probably go a little bit higher. Some hair strands. All right, let's do a little bit. It's kind of tentative to do that now, but I guess it cuts across the face, so it's, whoops. Yeah, I need to get a new 6-speed. This is like getting really short. So you see how I got the pencil extension here, so that I can have a kind of like a full-length pencil, even though it's really short. It's actually very useful, because you don't want to use a short pencil. It's really hard to grip, and normally the longer your pencil is, the more flexibility. It's like I can hold it here, and I can actually shade like this. All right, so it's very loose. That's why you gotta have long pencils. Okay, so I think it's getting there. Let's just keep going. Here, here, here. A little bit of crazy anatomy. All right, here's the little bumps. I'm just gonna go something like that. I don't wanna go too much detail into it. So let's see, here's the shoulder blades on the back. I'm gonna just kind of highlight that area a little bit, right? Because that's the light. It's gonna end right around there. That's the terminator. So I'm gonna shade this dark. This whole area is gonna be dark. And this area here, the arm, even darker, right? So it's gonna bring out this arm, because there's gonna be a lot of contrast, right? What is dark recedes. So this dark area recedes. What is light comes forward. This area is lighter, so therefore you feel like it's coming forward. Very basic, I don't know what you call it, visual tricks, but that's just kind of how we see things. All right, so let's see here, a little bit shadowing, musculature, sharper edge here. You see, this is sharper here because his elbow is sharper, so the terminator becomes sharper. And that's how you can feel that this is a sharper shape than this part right here, right? Because this is a little bit, the terminator is a little bit more, fuzzy. So that's how we can, when you draw, those are little things that's gonna give volume, the correct volume to what you're drawing. Because if this is uniform, then everything's gonna be sharp, right? And which is not it. So this is a little bit sharper here. So now I'm seeing like a lot of little distinctions in the shape. As I am drawing, that's what you end up seeing more and more. So I'm gonna keep it a little bit rough, so I'm gonna keep going. All right, this is right here darker. And here is darker. All right, this is the arm here. So you see how simple that was, right? It's just basically like three shades. Okay, so this is darker here, and the neck here is even darker here going back up. Because it's facing down, it looks like there's no reflective light coming up, so. All right, so now you feel this contrast here. I know, what I say, what is lighter comes forward, right? But, this is just how the lighting works. So, but like in general, that's hold true. But of course, we still have to stick to the real life lighting of this. All right, so its legs a little bit darker, so I don't know how much more I'm gonna draw of this. All right, so the body is not as interesting, so I'm gonna move back up. Yeah, I don't know, this is pretty cool, but I don't know how much I wanna do on this. So this is darker here. Because once I have, laid everything in, now you see a lot more of little stuff. And then, then you just gotta make the decision, well, how much more time do you want to do on this? And yeah, we should probably just concentrate more on the face. All right, so yeah, I don't know. I might or might not draw any more of this. I might do it as a speed drawing. Still haven't made up my mind yet as I'm doing this right now. So that's what I mean, right? It's just like, it's very spontaneous, and this is what I love about drawing. Let's make this eyes a little bit better. Probably need to maybe sharpen my 6B a little bit for smaller details. So I'm seeing a little bit more subtlety. So now I'm going in. This is kind of like another pass. So my second pass of this face, right? And now I can actually go in and, okay, there's this nostril right here is darker. Right? There's a little bit of shadowing going on underneath the nose. That's gonna give it a lot more volume. So a little bit more shading here. The nose is usually a little bit darker just so that I can, it turns red, right, because of the blood. And red translates into, almost black. So even like pinkish tones, it's actually pretty dark when you transfer it to black and white. So that's why normally, the nose is a little bit darker. And if you do make it like that, you can see how it kind of gives it life, right? It almost feels like there's some kind of flesh tone to it. Let's clean up the mouth a little bit. And my voice is giving out a little bit. All right, so maybe, it's a good time for me to stop here, and I'll probably do a little bit more speed drawing because this is kind of cool. All right, so I'm gonna continue push forward on this with a speed drawing, and I'll be right back to show you how it looks. Alright, I'm back and here's my final drawing for this Gollum. And yeah, I pretty much showed the whole process on screen. I just kind of sharpened up my 6P a little bit and went in there a little bit more detail and just kind of finish it out. Yeah, not too much, just a little bit more detail. Actually, one of the things I rarely talk about is about squinting, like how you should squint your eyes in order to see the correct values of your reference. So this is a very good I guess an example for that, because the reason we squint is because when you squint you don't see a lot of small details. Like if you look at a reference, you just kind of squint your eyes, all you kind of see is just basically the lights and darks and in very big areas, right? Because everything is kind of blurred out. So you squint on the reference and then you squint on this one, then you should be able to see like the darkest area is basically right here underneath the eyes, and then the neck area right there, and then the mouth. So if you squint, that'll pretty much give you confirmation as to if you got the right values or not. Just mainly for the bigger chunk area, So if I squint on this and I'll see this is darker, and then this is dark, this could probably be a little bit darker, and then this is light. So it's fairly accurate, right, in terms of value. So actually it's a very important, I probably should do more this kind of squinting exercise so that I kind of, so that you can see the whole drawing as a whole, as a full face and not just each individual part. So yeah, I'll definitely talk more about that in the future. But yeah, this is a very cool, fun little sketch, and I know somebody suggested this, so yeah, this is a very kind of way, just a good way to relax and just draw something and have a little bit of fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you do, please do give me a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.